Welcome to the Friction to Freedom podcast, where the mission is to support you as you tap into the best and highest expression of yourself for some amazing life experiences that you dream about having. My name is JanetDThomas, and I am really delighted that you joined me today. This is actually episode number 10. And before we get started, what I want to share with you is what this podcast is all about. This podcast is about the inner game. The whole premise is that internal shifts can lead to external success. And we are exploring how to actually do these inner shifts in a gentle and mindful way and an interesting way, because the inner world can be like a landmine. I mean, if your inner critic is all crazy in there, the last thing we might want to do is kind of tap into that. So this is to support you as you tap into the highest and best expression of yourself from the inside out. And we're going to be using neuroscience and self-discovery tools in order to facilitate this. Now, you are your own best authority. So take what you can use as usual and leave the rest. And I'm looking forward to exploring these ideas with you today. What we're going to do today is I'm going to do a little recap of what we've discussed so far in these first 9 episodes that are actually really concentrated information when it comes to introducing these neuroscientific and self-discovery tools, all about the inner game. This has nothing to do with anyone else but you. And in my own lived experience, what I've discovered is that when I finally had the courage, the desperation actually, to look within, that's when I started to transform from the inside, which really translated to success and amazing realities on the outside. So I learned that the way out is through. I learned that the way out is in. And it's kind of opposite to what we're used to, looking outside of ourselves for love and support and validation. All of those things could certainly be available to us. Yet, it does not depend on other people when we learn how to give it to ourselves first. So I'm going to recap these first 9 episodes, and I invite you to go back to some of them if this recap piques your interest. If there's something in this that you go, ooh, I might want to explore that idea. I'm curious about that. Let me give you a recap on what we've talked about so far. So I'm going to be reading. I normally don't read in the podcast when I'm talking to you about these things, but I want to read this just so that I make sure that I'm really succinct about what we've talked about before, and thus what you might want to kind of go back to exploring if you haven't heard it before. And it's also going to give you kind of a preview on what we're going to be talking about in the future. Just completely about the inner game and how to transform that so that you can rock and roll in your life in the ways that are meaningful to you. It's fabulous. So here is the recap of what we've talked about before. Now, when it comes to neuroscience and self-discovery tools, this really is all about understanding your nervous system and developing true self-friendship. Okay? So learning about your superpower, by the way, is your ability to regulate your nervous system at will. Now, this can open the door to true self-connection and self-friendship. Now, the benefits are endless when it comes to moving from friction to freedom in your life, including gaining inner clarity, leading to better decision-making and inner peace and external successes, not the least of which is attracting more fulfillment in your relationships without anyone or anything changing but you. Now, this really isn't about changing yourself. This is about making some shifts based upon what you're already working with, your natural experiences in your life, shifting your perspective on exactly what's on your plate in order to gain this clarity, in order to clear things up on the inside, in order to remove blockages so that you can enjoy yourself more fully, express your gifts more fully, deal with other people, relate to other people much more fully and with peace and fun and happiness. So that's a little bit about understanding about your nervous system and self-friendship and the benefit of that. Another episode where I talked about why can I feel so anxious so often? And in this one, we talked about understanding how your nervous system reacts to stress and actually the habitual nature of it that spans hundreds of thousands of years. Understanding that the value in it is to keep you alive. And now it's about using this so that you can manage your anxiety. Techniques like deep breathing and mindfulness and physical safety measures to help you calm your nervous system, among other things that we talked about in that episode. But it was a two-parter that will help you understand where this anxiety could be coming from and what you can do to start toning it down, bringing it down to relaxation so that you can open up your creativity and use your gifts in other ways. That's what that episode is all about. We also talked about moving from friction to freedom in relationships. And when I discuss the ideas about that, it has to do with neuroscience and understanding how your brain utilizes prediction scripts in order to anticipate future behavior like it's been in the past. And I will say that the disappointment in relationships can really be broken down into your own unfulfilled expectations about what you wanted within those relationships that went unfulfilled. So it has to do with our own unfulfilled expectations. And that's an inner job to explore what that might be in order to manage those disappointments, transform ourselves and our self-reliance in a lot of ways to foster more peace, ease, and connection within your relationships. We also talked about why can there be so much friction within myself? And for me, this is the core discussion. This is the core exploration in order to shift that which no longer serves you on the inside in order to attract that which you really want to attract in your life. Now, internal friction can arise when you listen to or try to avoid your inner critic or that incessant inner critic that may live inside of you, just like mine literally tortured me for decades. So understanding more about translating the inner critic's unique language, among other things, can assist you in transforming it into a supportive ally, one that you can rely on for support in your life, which also can hold your fire and your passion at what it is that you're interested in your life. So those are clues about why there can be so much friction on the inside. And more about this internal growth, this internal shifting, we discuss an idea called your personal zip code. Now, the personal zip code is the place where you habitually land in your thinking. Now, in my case, I developed a zip code way early on that was a repetitive belief that I'm no good. This repetitive belief came from how I viewed my non-preferred experiences as a child that I had no control over, and things that were out of my control, I actually blamed myself for. And that's where that habitual zip code of I'm no good came from. Now, that's my lived experience. you might be able to kind of identify or start thinking about what might be your own personal zip code that you habitually repeat to yourself again and again and again that shapes your experiences and may be attracting things that are non-preferred because you may have negative self-beliefs about yourself that are not connected to your value or your worth at all. So we talk a little bit about that. Another episode, we talk about the wonderful, wonderful game-changing tool called neutralization. Now, this is a practice when it comes to things that are non-preferred, where you describe something that's happening physically, just the facts, and this can help you disrupt the habitual catastrophizing in your mind or other yucky patterns that you may have to give you the opportunity to see things differently. And when you see things differently, you can disrupt the negative anxiety that you have. Your nervous system can calm down. When you have the opportunity to see things differently for yourself, you would be amazed at how quickly your perspective can shift from something that feels negative in the body to something that is really transformative. That's what neutralization is all about. We talked about it in depth in one particular episode. We will explore this so much more as we continue on this journey for self-discovery and also to reconnect you with yourself, okay? We also talked about self-friendship and the unlimited choices that we have now. With time accelerating the way it is, and the whole world is open to us with the information age, with the internet, now with AI. We have so many choices now. It really is about knowing yourself to help you navigate these choices so that you have these tools working for you, as opposed to kind of just looking at things that may not be interesting to you, or that you're just looking at things that are thrust upon you rather than them being self-directed. So when you have more self-friendship, when you understand what your priorities are, when you want to create certain things in your life, when you get clarity on what you want to create, this will allow you to use the tools, AI, the internet, those types of things, where you direct them to what you want to learn and grow and understand, as opposed to just being run by them. We'll talk about that in an earlier episode, and we go kind of in a deep dive in that. I think I talk about it a little bit more eloquently in that episode. Maybe you would agree with that. But check out that episode if you're interested in learning about how you can get your own clarity so that you can orchestrate how you use these tools, because they are there to support what you want to do. The challenge is, what if you don't know what you want to do and you're just kind of fiddling around with them? May not give you exactly what you want and what you need, but they're there to support you. So you can use those when you have that self-friendship really locked in. All right. So those are some of the items that I've talked about in previous episodes. And this one is a springboard to future episodes where we will continue to talk about everything internally related so that you can focus on shifting your relationship with yourself in order to attract the life that you want to live. Internal shifts can lead to external success. So this podcast, coming full circle, is all about the inner game. This is all about inner shifts that can lead to external success. So I want to leave you with a couple of items just to kind of pique your interest maybe on this, or to continue deepening on what this is all about, and perhaps trying a couple of these things on your own to see how it can shift the quality of your life right here, right now, today. The whole point of this is about the quality of your life right now. This isn't pie in the sky. This isn't spiritual ideas and philosophical things to contemplate. These are actual tools that you can use to transform your experience right now. Perspective shifts on exactly what's on your plate. So let me give you an example of that. I said this in another episode. If you are an adult, by the way, you have responsibility for your life. Nobody's going to come save you. You have responsibility for your life. So what this simply means, the word responsibility, it does not have to be this negative, heavy thing like fault or blame or guilt or those types of things. Responsibility is simply response ability. You have the ability to respond to your life. Responsibility. Whatever is on your plate, you have the ability to respond to. And nothing would make me happier than to see you do this more quickly, with more ease, and just making these shifts that will translate into real wonderful stuff in your life. You have the ability to respond to your life. Now, the good news is, if you have habitual patterns, if you have a negative zip code like I did, if you have this incessant inner critic, you can shift those things. Now, this is where the idea of neuroplasticity comes in. Neuroplasticity simply means that you have the ability to learn. Now, learning takes time, focus, and repetition. And just like Bruce Lee said, he was a martial artist and also a master in so many ways, an incredible man. He said, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks one time, but I do fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." Now, when you practice one thing 10,000 times, it becomes automated. This is true for something that is non-preferred, and it's also true for something that you do prefer. So if you take one tool that you know about, that you have found success with, and you continue to practice it, it's going to become automated and it can transform your life. So I invite you to consider that this is about time, focus, and repetition, and you can and will make the shifts that you'd like to on the inside in order to support the life that you want to live. Okay? So the mission here will always be about providing tools and techniques to guide you back to yourself. Whatever is on your plate, you've got the ability to shift it, get the gifts from it, transform it, so that you can absolutely remove any blockages that you may have to your inherent goodness and your ability to live a life that you want to live. So thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions or comments or something that you'd like to share, please hit me up on social media. You can also reach me on my website at JanetDThomas.com. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Take good care.